The Arizona sun hung like a burning coin over the desert sky, turning the land into a vast red furnace where every shadow looked like it hid a story, and every breeze carried the whispers of old ghosts. Jeremiah Coyle, a rancher whose hands were hard from decades of wrestling with stubborn soil and wild cattle, stood at the fence line with his 12-year-old son, Caleb. To the boy, Jeremiah seemed carved from raw granite, unshakable, unbreakable, the kind of man the frontier itself respected. Their ranch stretched out before them, miles of rugged land fenced by weathered posts and stubborn determination. As the cattle drifted toward the watering hole, Jeremiah's eyes narrowed at something only he seemed to feel, a shift in the wind. A warning carried through heat and silence. Caleb noticed it too, the way his father's jaw tightened, the way his hand rested on his belt not far from the revolver he rarely used. For months, Jeremiah had refused to bow to the Benton gang, a group of vicious outlaws who had grown bold enough to demand protection fees from ranchers who had built their lives with sweat, not fear. Jeremiah had told them no once, then twice, then a third time with iron in his voice. Now the fourth time was coming, galloping across the ridge, with dust swirling behind 5 horses like a storm summoned by devils. The men approached with the swagger of wolves strutting into a sheep pen. Clancy Benton, their leader, wore a grin that never reached his cold, snake-bitten eyes. His men fanned out behind him, rifles slung casually, cruelty hanging from them like a cloak. "Evening, old man," Benton drawled, spitting tobacco into the dust. "Heard you're still having trouble understanding simple business arrangements." Jeremiah didn't flinch. "This is my land. My family's land. I'm not paying a cent to outlaws." Caleb's heart thudded, but he stayed close, swallowing his fear as Benton's grin twisted into something uglier. "Boy," the outlaw leader said, glancing at Caleb, "you might want to step back. Things are about to get educational." Before the child could move, one of Benton's men swung his rifle but into Jeremiah's ribs with a crack so sharp it split the quiet evening in half. Caleb shouted and lunged, but another outlaw seized him, forcing his face toward the dirt as Jeremiah collapsed, gasping, trying to rise. "Should have paid." Benton hissed as his men began to beat the old rancher, boots slamming into his back, fists hammering into his face, cruelty flowing with every blow. Caleb screamed for them to stop, his voice raw, but they only laughed. The dust churned red. The world blurred through tears. And all the while, Jeremiah, bleeding, broken, yet unbowed, kept his eyes on his son, as though trying to pass something silently through the pain. A warning, a promise, a final lesson. By the time the gang rode away, leaving burning timbers, spilled water barrels, and ruin in their wake, Jeremiah lay still in the dirt, his breath shallow, eyes dimming. Caleb crawled to him, trembling, choking on sobs. Pa, please." Jeremiah raised a shaking hand and touched Caleb's cheek. "You, listen," he rasped. "Canyon, Apaches, friends, find them." His voice broke. "Don't let them take who you are." And with that final breath, the desert went silent. Caleb knelt in the dust beside his father's body as the sky darkened, flames reflecting in his tear-filled eyes. He was no longer a boy. He was grief sharpened into a blade. And before the night was over, he would take his father's hat, leave behind the ruins of the only home he had ever known, and step into the canyon trails, with one purpose burning through him like wildfire. He would return, and he would not return alone.